before we get into the work, let's take a moment and just talk about signature set and what makes it different from the concept of your greatest hits and what makes it different from the concept of one finisher or a trademark move that is your special attack. And that predominates American wrestling, does it not? The idea that you have one finisher. So for example, if you were watching WWE and Randy Orton was wrestling a match, chances are you are most likely to believe the match is ending when he hits the RKO. That's his special attack, his trademark move, his one unique finisher. It is far less likely to end when he does that turn away half-side headlock backbreaker thing. You're far less likely to believe that that is the finisher because there is an equity built up into that as a finishing move. You will buy the RKO, you don't buy the loose headlock backbreaker thing. Similarly, you watch a John Cena match, chances are one, maybe two moves that you buy will be the finish. It's going to be the attitude adjustment, or maybe it's the STF, but chances are outside of that, there are very few things that you believe are going to finish the match. They've been built up as unique special attacks, and those are the things that end the match. Let's also differentiate signature set, which is a collection of moves that all have equity built into them and are defined by these characteristics. And signature set to define those characteristics, number one, these are the kind of moves that you will do very well. Your execution of them is excellent. And you want to make sure that these are not moves being done by everybody else on the roster of your home promotion or the organization where you appear the most. You want it to make you as bold and different as if I was standing across the ring from someone in orange trunks, I would happen to be wearing royal blue. This contrast makes each character bolder. We are foiling against one another to make sure that each character has maximum clarity and thus is the most memorable to the audience watching. So as you construct your signature set of moves, not only do they have to be things that you know you do exceptionally well, they've also got to distinguish you from everyone else on the roster. For example, if you chose as your signature strike a knife-edge chop, but on a roster of 30 wrestlers, if 25 others also happen to do the knife-edge chop, you being number 26 is unlikely to make you stand out from the pack. What other strike could you choose that might make you stand out? Does anyone else throw a headbutt? Maybe no one does. And if you feel like upon hearing that, well, Mike, my headbutt is really lousy, could you practice it to perfection until it becomes something that you would want to showcase? Because then you've got something that you do in an excellent fashion, and it serves the purpose of distinguishing you from everyone else on the roster. And a good signature set will do that. It is a list of wrestling moves different from your greatest hits. And your greatest hits is something that I broke down in detail in chapter 1 of my book, 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer, but I'm going to reprise that information for you and recap it right now. Your greatest hits is a list not just of moves, but of spots and sequences and character beats that you know always get a reaction from the audience. These three concepts are all different ways of assembling the physical mechanics of your match. Single finisher psychology or the special attack is different from signature set of moves defined by the things that you do very well that distinguish you from other members of the roster, and both of these are different from your greatest hits. Your greatest hits is a collection of spots, moves, or character beats that always get you a reaction. Now, can there be crossover between these three ideas? Absolutely there can be, but not necessarily. There doesn't have to be. You might discover that your list of character beats, moves, or sequences that always get a reaction end up being a little bit different than your signature set. They might not all be the exact same things you do that you know you execute very, very well and that differentiate you from everybody else on the roster. And each of these kind of defines the objective of the match. What are you working toward? So in the case of single finisher psychology, You might have one or two objectives in the match. The overarching objective, of course, is I want to win. But if it is also that I want to win with my finishing move, that does color the story in a way that is different from constructing a performance that relies on signature set, a collection of moves that all might have equity built up into them because of how well you do them and how different they are from everyone else on the roster. And this is also different from constructing a match where the priority is your greatest hits. So what's an example of some time when you might need to prioritize greatest hits over these other ideas? Well, here's one. Imagine that you are making your debut match in a new region for a brand new company where the audience is completely unfamiliar with your work. That to me sounds like a scenario where you might want to prioritize your greatest hits, your most crowd-pleasing moves, spots, and character beats. But if that one-time debut turns into regular work and you end up wrestling there every Friday night for the next 3 years, then you might have the opportunity to build equity into every move that is on your signature set. And if you can build that equity up into all of these moves, each of them will become understood and appreciated at the same level as this alternate idea of single finisher psychology. And when you can get all of these, your strike, your pinning combination, your submission hold, your suplex, your impact move, your ground attack, etc., as over as the single finish, now you have a panoply of moves to call upon if you want to get effective false finishes that really add fuel to your fire in the third act.